Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Rob here, nice to see you. Yes it is, so today's video is going to be slightly different. We're going to be talking about Gigantamax Lapras and how you can use it for competitive double battles. I'll only be covering the double battle aspects of this because I'm not sure how singles works. It's been a long time since I played it. But first we're going to have a look at Lapras's stats, its moves and its abilities. So scroll right to the top of Cerebi here. I will leave all these links in the descriptions. Right. So first off, Lapras has got 3 decent abilities. Water Absorb, which heals HP when you're hit by a water type move. Shell Armor means you can't be hit by critical hits, which is really good for a really bulky Pokemon like Lapras. It saves you a lot of aggro from Crit Kiss. It means Leak Surf Edge can't crit close combat you, which can hurt a lot, and even Oko some variants of Lapras. And Hydration is also a great ability. If it's raining, you heal status conditions, burn, paralyze, sleep, freeze, and poison. Which can, I think that's probably the less useful ability out of them all, but can definitely still be useful. Right. So let's have a look at some good moves which we could highlight here. I don't think Sting's going to be very useful. Life Dew is good. Heals yourself and your partner if you're running a bulky support Lapras. Ice Shard is great priority. Can help set off weakness policy on Dragapult, for example. Confuse Ray, I don't think you're going to really find use for it. Hydro Pump, strong stab move, great. Perichong can be useful. Again, you can use this on Lapras. When your Dynamax ends, you can set up a Perish Trap. You know, Perichong force opponents out if they set up and whatnot. Safeguard can be useful. Protect, always useful. Icy Wind can be useful for speed control, although I don't think it's worth using your G-Max Resonance in the form of Icy Wind or Ice Shard for that matter. Rain Dance, I don't think you're going to use that. Nor do I think you can use Weather Ball, really. I mean, you could argue Surf if you're partnered with something like Gastrodon, although it's very weak to Grass then. But I don't think you're going to be using Surf, really. Let's have a look. What else we got here? Dragon Dance, no, you're probably not going to. Right, so let's look at his egg moves. Ancient Power, I don't think you're going to find use for this. Sparkling Area is a useful move, but unfortunately it hits you as well, so I don't think you're really going to have use for this either. Freeze Dry is probably going to be its best egg move here. It hits water types for super effective damage, Gyarados for 4 times super effective damage, which is just so nice. If you're using Lapras, I really recommend having Freeze Dry on it. Right, so there its max moves. I mean, you could argue Psychic for max Mindstorm, but I don't really think it's going to be that useful. And also it gets, so I scroll past it, but it actually gets Thunderbolt and Thunder as well. These are 2 moves that can be extremely useful, which I've actually just scrolled past, my bad. But yeah, Thunderbolt is a very standard move on Lapras. It's great coverage. You could also use Thunder for a stronger max move, and if you have set the rain up for after Dynamax ends, I normally prefer Thunderbolt, but Thunder is an option. Let's have a look at his stats now, though. Right, so it's got base 130 HP, which is amazing. It's also got 535 base total, which is great. Unfortunately, though, it's got both 85 base attack and special attack. For the most part, you're never going to be using a physical Lapras, which is a shame because base 85 attack is the same as the special attack. You know, if this was like 70 and this was 100, Lapras would be so much more offensively scary. But unfortunately, base 85 on each isn't that great. I mean, you could try use a physical Lapras with Dragon Dance, and you know, but the only problem is though you then become weak to Intimidate, and it just adds more issues than it does benefits. But I mean, we could try and make a physical Gmax Lapras set. Maybe we will. Base 80 defense paired with 130 HP is not. I mean, it doesn't look great, but with 130 base HP, it's not too bad. 85 special attack, not great but usable. 95 base special defense, which is good. 60 base speed, which on paper looks bad, but in this particular format where there's a lot of base 60 Pokemon and below, it's actually not too bad. So its stats are actually really nice. Besides the attack, I feel like less attack would have done Lapras great, and a bit more either defense or special attack would have been absolutely perfect. But we're going to go into Pokemon Showdown now and look at some sets I've put together. So this is a general weakness policy Lapras set, and this is the set I particularly have used in all my videos. Obviously the item of choice is weakness policy. If you're hit by a super effective move, this is going to increase your attack and special attack by 2 stages, which then turns Lapras into a hard-hitting Pokemon. Shell Armor instead of Water Absorb, because not a lot of people are going to try hit your Lapras with a Water type move, and unless you're carrying something with Surf or something like that, then or trying to switch into a Water type move, which again is very niche and it's not going to come across, you're not going to be using that very often. So personally I prefer Shell Armor. This means I can't be crit through my Auraville once it's set up. It gives Lapras a much longer longevity. It means crit Togekiss can't do its shenanigans on you, nor can Surfetched. And it's very standard moveset here. We've got Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Thunderbolt and Protect. Very standard moveset. This is great coverage here. You could do Thunder instead of Thunderbolt if you wanted a stronger max move. If you'd already used Max Geyser, then you set up the rain for when Dynamax ends, and you could potentially fire off 100% accurate Thunders. Other moves you could use here, you could put Parishong here. You could also put Life Dew if you really wanted to. I really don't think it's worth doing though. You could also argue Psychic. And I mean, you could probably maybe put Hydration here, as well as Rest. So when Dynamax ends, you can use Rest, providing you set the rain up, that is. But again, that forces you a lot of the time to actually use Max Geyser, and sometimes you're not even going to want to use it full stop. So I'm not really too sure about that. But it is an option. EV spread is very simple. We've got a modest nature to maximize damage output. Max HP investment makes it nice and bulky on both physical and the special side. 28 speed EVs allows me to speed creep other base 60s such as Tyranitar, which is actually base 61, but not a lot of people actually run any speed investment. Incineroar is another one. There is a bunch of them, but I can't remember them all off by heart. With this particular EV spread as well, after something has been paralyzed, or if you're setting up a Tailwind, you now outspeed base 100s such as Charizard, Ninetales. You know, there's quite there's a handful of Pokemon there, as well as base 95 such as Arcanine, 96 Mimikyu, Excadrill, Outsand if it's not Sandrush. You know, so there's a nice chunk of Pokemon that it does outspeed if you do get off a Nuzzle from Raichu or a Tailwind from Whimsicott. You could invest more in speed and less in special attack if you wanted to outspeed Pokemon such as Durant after its Tailwind is up, or you've managed to nuzzle it first, which is an option. Personally though, I don't think it's probably worth doing. I mean, you could argue nuzzling or tailwinding first, setting up Auraville, you're going to take less damage from Durant's max Rockfall, which will then set off your weakness policy. But a lot of the time, a lot of people aren't going to try hit your Lapras for super effective moves because of that weakness policy. So that's something you have to bear in mind, okay? Alright, second set here, we've got a support Gmax Lapras. Now this Lapras works a lot different to the more offensive one. The held item of choice is Light Clay. The ability is Water Absorb because, you know, this adds longevity if you're using it with something with Surf, for example. But to be honest with you, all abilities are great here. Hydration you could use. You could also use Shell Armor. I think the ability of choice here would be dependent on how you want to run the Lapras. For the EV spread, we've got max HP. We've got a calm nature. We've got a bit of special defense investment. We've got a lot of physical defense investment to make it mixed to bulky. We've got a little bit of speed just to speed creep min base 60s, just in case there is any. For moves so far, we've got Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Life Dew, and Protect. You could replace Life Dew with Rest. You could also put Perishong in here. If you really didn't want to, you wouldn't even have to run Protect because this is supposed to be a support Lapras. Light Clay gives Auraville a plus extra 3 turns of your Auraville, so it's going to last for 8 turns. Pokemon you'd want to use with this set though, because this Lapras isn't here to deal huge amounts of damage. This Lapras is here to support your team as a whole. So if you're looking to bring Pokemon that really need to set up, such as Swords Dance Excadrill or Swords Dance Mimikyu, Nasty Plot Rotom, Dragon Dance Gyarados, or Dragon Dance something or other, you know. This would be a great set, because obviously setting up 8 turns of Auraville is very good. You can set up Rain with it. You can obviously Freeze Dry. It hits a lot of Pokemon with super effective damage that otherwise will Lapras. Life Dew helps support your partner Pokemon. And you could also add Rest over Protect if you had set up Rain and you are carrying Hydration, which means Lapras can just go straight back to the full HP, which is really nice. Personally, I think Mimikyu works quite well with here, because obviously Lapras is weak to Pokemon like fighting types like Conkeldurr, whereas Mimikyu can sit in front of them and set up with a Swords Dance, especially behind its Disguise ability. But there is a lot of options you can do with this, but it is an option regardless. Now, some team Pokemon you can bring with Gmax Lapras. Alcremie with Focus Sash and Max Speed Investment is a great one. Dazzling Gleam is just a generic move, helps break Focus Sashes, ignores Redirect like Follow Me. Now, Decorate is a unique move to Alcremie. When you use this move, it will raise attack and special attack by 2 stages. The idea here is to use it on your own Lapras. With this speed investment, you're obviously going to outspeed your Lapras. And when you've done this, you're now getting a +2 special attack on Lapras, which means Lapras is going to be hitting hard. Which is obviously good. You do have to watch out for Follow Me users, because if they redirect your Decorate, they're going to be giving themselves a +2 special attack or attack. That's why Fake Tears is here. If you're expecting a Follow Me from Indeedee or Togekiss, for example, using Fake Tears is just going to lower their special defense by 2 stages, which gives the same effect as boosting Lapras in a sense. Protect is very standard in VGC. You can't argue Protect. Ability of choice is Sweetville, because this protects Alcremie and the Lapras from falling asleep, which is just really good tech. If you are using Alcremie of Lapras and you're using it with offensive Lapras, which is most likely you are, you could replace Weakness Policy here with an item like Light Clay, because you're getting a lot of power boost from Alcremie. Having Weakness Policy might not seem as beneficial, because you've got no way to trick it in yourself. A lot of people aren't going to start attacking Gmax Lapras with super effective moves. They'll wait till the Dynamax ends. So I think Light Clay, if you're partnering this Lapras with Alcremie, I think Light Clay is probably the way to go, in my opinion, because you're going to get a lot of support here, especially if you can fire off a couple of Decorates, which is really powerful. But yeah, otherwise it's very standard. Alcremie is very frail on the physical side. Its base HP isn't that great, so Focus Sash is the item of choice. Making it as fast as possible is just a no-brainer. You could argue putting the special attack investment from special attack into HP. Again, no, you got the Focus Sash to save you there. I personally would like Dazzling Gleam to do a little bit more damage, because sometimes that a little bit of extra damage can really help pick up those KOs. And again, Lapras can also actually function on a Trick Room team. You can easily run a Quiet Nature Lapras in terms of this one. If you're going to be using Lapras on a Trick Room team, most of the time you are going to be using one that's going to fire off as much damage as possible. So you could run a Quiet Nature here instead of Modest. You would have 0 speed, obviously 0 EVs in speed and 0 speed IVs as well, to make it as slow as possible. And partnering this with a Pokemon like Dusclops would be really good. We'll do that quickly actually. So if we do a Quiet Nature on Lapras here, remove the speed IVs and the IVs and EVs, sorry, there we go. And obviously you could just put the rest into special attack or defense, whichever you'd want, wherever you'd want to put them. You know, it's no wrong or right, it's up to you completely. We'd still keep relatively the same moveset, and we'd also keep Weakness Policy. But if we put this with a Pokemon like Dusclops, we can actually put Brick Break on Dusclops. And what we can do is we can protect Lapras for a turn, set up Trick Room with Dusclops, providing the opportunity is there. And then the next turn after that, we can Brick Break our own Lapras, set off our Weakness Policy, give ourselves a +2 special attack and attack, and then we can Gigantamax and start firing off really strong attacks, which actually works out really, really good. Dusclops can be, I mean, this isn't a video about Dusclops, but everyone knows Dusclops. It's extremely bulky, probably the best Trick Room setter in the game. But next we're going to actually get on to the next best partner for Lapras, which is going to be the one and only Raichu. Oh, supposed to have a lightning rod there, that's my bad. I always use my Gmax Lapras with Raichu. This is a very standard set. It's got Focus Sash. Obviously you wouldn't be bringing this Alno and Alcremie, it'd be one or the other. Raichu prevents Lapras from taking any sort of moves from electric type moves. Very standard moveset: Thunderbolt, Nuzzle, Fake Out and Brick Break. You can use Brick Break to self-proc your own weakness policy with a timid nature. No physical investment. You could do attack IVs. I personally keep it 31 because the damage output is very minor. And this way you Fake Out and Brick Break and Nozzle are going to be dealing as much damage as they can. Max special attack. Make sure those Thunderbolts hit as hard as possible because that extra support can really help. And if you do redirect any electric type moves, it will give Raichu a +1 special attack. And after a +1, Thunderbolt starts to deal some hefty damage. But of course, this is a nice support for Raichu. Fake Out support is great for Lapras. It gives Lapras a potentially free turn to use a move such as Resonance. If you don't see the need for Fake Out, you can go straight for a Brick Break, self-proc your weakness policy. Or if you see something faster like Charizard, Ninetales, and stuff like that, or Arcanine, you can nuzzle them with Raichu. I've done this plenty of time. I've nuzzled a Charizard. I've then used Lapras to go straight through a Max Geyser onto the Charizard and just take it out for the most time. You will take it out. Charizard can't really hit Lapras very hard, even with Max Overgrowth. It's just going to set off your weakness policy. But yeah, that's pretty much all that covered. So good partners for lead Laprases are Alcremie and Raichu. Lastly, we're going to go over to Pikalytics here. This is a great website for VGC, and all you have to do, if you type in here on the side, you go to Pokedex. This is the general first website. What's the word? This is the first sort of screen you will see. But if you go here and type in Lapras, as so, and you will see what sort of moves and EV spreads people are using for their Lapras. So that, like for example, the most 4 common moves on Lapras are Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Protect and Perish Song, followed by Thunderbolt, Thunder, Ice Shard and Ice Beam. I don't really see a point of using Ice Beam over Freeze Dry personally, because just the tech of Freeze Dry is just so good. If you scroll down, you can see the teammates of Lapras: Incineroar, Togekiss, Conkeldurr, Dusclops, Dragapult, like I said, Ice Shard into Dragapult, self weakness policy. You know, Alcremie's there as well. But they're the most common partners for Lapras. In terms of ability, Shell Armor is the most used ability, followed by Water Absorb, and then lastly Hydration. Hydration is a very niche pick in my opinion. If you do pick Hydration as ability, make sure there's a reason why you're using Hydration. Don't just use it for the sake of it being hidden ability, because both Water Absorb and Shell Armor are great abilities on Lapras. Personally, Shell Armor being the top pick there. Obviously, the most used items are Weakness Policy and Light Clay, followed by Life Orb, Assault Vest, Citrus Berry, Leftovers, you know, Pinch Berries as well. Personally, I think Weakness Policy and Light Clay is the way to go here, though. EV spreads, also very simple. Most of them seem to be either Modest or Quiet. So, Modest if you're outside a Trick Room, a bit of speed investment there as well. I'm not sure what the 44 base speed EVs outspeeds. It depends how people are using it. I personally find myself with 28 just to be enough. And obviously Quiet, you've got 0 here for Trick Room. Right, yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it in terms of everything about Lapras. But oh yeah, you've also got this website as well, Babri website. And if you click this, when you're on Pikalytics, if you click this and click view on this website, it will take you to the most teams found that are also using Gmax Lapras. So as you can see right now, we've got this team in particular has Lapras, Arcanine, Tyranitar, Mimikyu, Dusclops and Conkeldurr. So it looks like a very Lapras supports a lot of these Pokemon here. Trick Room goes well on it as well. This one's got Alcremie and the Lapras duo, as well as Whimsicott with a Tailwind most likely. And you see this one here's got Raichu and Lapras. So they're all very standard. A lot of Lapras and Alcremie. Lapras and Dragapult. It's probably Ice Shard Lapras to set up weakness policy. Another Trick Room Lapras, but this is just a very great website. In tech, I mean, they're both great websites in theory. We will quickly try build a physical Lapras. So let's try build a physical Lapras real quick. Right. So Charizard hits base 100 speed Pokemon with full investment is 167 at level 50. So we will look at trying to see if we can outspeed I reckon probably Shell Armor is probably best here. So Shell Armor. Item. So Dragon Dance would be the move we would want here. I think Liquid, I'd say actually Waterfall would probably be the best here. Avalanche, I feel like is its only, no, it's got Ice Shard as well. Actually, in this turn, probably Ice Shard. I mean, it's still a weak max move, but, yeah. In terms of Ice-type moves, Ice Shard and Avalanche. So, Ice Shard or Avalanche would work fine. I'm just going to put Ice Shard for now. Only problem with this set is you would have to forego using Protect, which is a bit of a bum. But in terms of other physical moves, what's it got here? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at its other physical moves. Out of curiosity, I want to know how you could run it. Fissure and Horn Drill turn into strong moves. It's got Body Press, so you could actually boost your own attack that way. Although I don't think that's probably worth using. Iron Tail for boosting your defense, possibly. Smart Strike defense as well. Personally, I reckon probably Drill Run would be the better one here. I'm pretty sure it learns Drill Run. I swear I saw it. Did I see it or am I making it up? Yeah, so it learns Drill Run. Drill Runs are probably the better ability, better move here on a physical one. This way you can cover electric type Pokemon. So we'll put Drill Run there. Right, now we would want enough speed EVs to be able to outspeed a outspeed Charizard. So let's have a looky here. We would need to calculate that quickly. So min speed Lapras with 80 speed times 2 is 160. So I think hitting 84 would probably be it. So no, it would not, would it? So look at that again. Sorry, because it's only +1, isn't it? My bad. So 80 divided 2 plus 80, 120. Right, so we need to hit 167. So we stick 252 in there for now. Let's see what that does. So 112 divided 2 plus 112. That's 168. Okay. You'd probably want Adamant Nature. This EV spread would outspeed base 100s after the Dragon Dance. Unfortunately, though, this will make Lapras hit pretty weak. I mean, not hit. I mean, it wouldn't make it hit weak, but it makes it quite frail, which is not cool. I mean, you could make it work. You'd probably need a Life Orb on there as well. I mean, I don't think you're going to make a physical Lapras work, unfortunately, but that is an example of a physical Lapras. I really don't think you're going to make it work, but the option is there if you really want to do it. But I think that pretty much covers this video. Lapras is an absolutely amazing Pokemon before its G-Max. I mean, it wasn't the most greatest competitive Pokemon. It was a great Perish song user, but its G-Max form is absolutely amazing. Being able to set up an Auraville without any sort of form of hail, in terms of being able to deal huge damage with it as well, with the right support, makes Lapras a very threatening Pokemon, and it's 100% one of the strongest G-Max Pokemon out there. I highly recommend everyone giving it a go. I really hope this video has been helpful to you as well. If there was anything I missed, do let me know. Also, let me know what sort of Lapras sets have you been using. Have you designed any that are different from mine? These are the ones I personally have thought about myself. I really like using the proc weakness policy one. In my opinion, that's my favourite one to use. I get the most joy out of that. Yeah, let me know. Feel free to use these sets. You know, they're all free to the public. I hope you enjoyed it though, and I'll see you all later in today's live stream. Thank you very much, everyone. Rob out.